and analyst Ron Meyer.
Hello and welcome to NFL Preview Super Bowl Sunday edition. I'm Vince Cellini on a glorious morning in Hollywood. And I am joined, as always, by my partner, and I don't want to say Ron Meyer has actually gone Hollywood on me, but, well, judge for yourself. I can't get him out of the sunglasses, the limousines, or the trendy restaurants here in town. Ron, what a week it's been for us here.
A week indeed. L.A., and Hollywood right behind us, Vince. And plus, we got the best Super Bowl I predict ever. We've got the two best teams going head-to-head in a great day. Let's get serious. Let's analyze them.
All right, Super Bowl 27, let's break it down right now. And yes, the Buffalo defense is much improved, but for the Bills, well, that high-powered offense, to avoid a Super Bowl jinx, cannot short-circuit as it did a year ago in the Super Bowl against the Washington Redskins. And what a pairing we have for you. It's going to be that Buffalo Bills #2 offense going against the Cowboy #1 defense. Buffalo averages 122 more yards than the Cowboys allow, scoring over 8 points more than Dallas surrenders on average. So something has to give, Ron Meyer.
Well, something does have to give. You got a high-octane offense. You're getting a heavy knock defense. Buffalo has got to maintain good rhythm and good balance. They've got to gamble. Being the underdog here, Vince, they have got to take chances, I think, and go for it all. Get that 2-minute offense in a high gear, 12 to 15 seconds, and snap those plays off.
Well, with that offense, they can take chances, and they have a great backfield. That's where we begin. Thurman Thomas and Kenneth Davis. How important is Thurman Thomas to this attack? In the 5 Buffalo regular season losses, Thurman Thomas, no touchdowns. So how can Dallas handle this multi-dimensional weapon?
Well, it's just that. You said it all, Vince. You take Thurman Thomas out of the game, and you win the game. His position, that man right there, his position catches the ball more than any other position, and with his ability to run the ball uncontested here on a great screen call, Kelly to Thomas in the end zone, touchdown against the Miami Dolphins. This keeps Dave Wanstead awake at night, the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. He has got to stop that position, whether it's Thomas or whether it's Kenneth Davis. 1-2 punch.
And stop Jim Kelly as well. And Jim Kelly in the passing offense, I talked to Tom Bresnahan, the Bills offensive coordinator this week. He said it's important for the Bills passing game to get into a rhythm. Snap, set up, throw.
Well, Jim Kelly, if he's forced to go back into the pocket, pad the ball, peel it, and eat it, he's going to be in trouble. Right here he throws and he forces the ball into coverage. Lewis Oliver coming up with a big interception. Jim Kelly, this is the nemesis that plagues him. He cannot force that ball. If he does, the Cowboys are going to pick it off, and you can't have turnovers in the big game.
Now, we talked about the no-huddle a little bit, and Dallas was very pleased with their preparation for the no-huddle. In fact, Kenny Norton said, look, I don't think they can run it any faster than we practiced it this week. But you know, with the Colts, how difficult it is to try to simulate that in practice.
Well, I'm telling you, Vince, it's almost impossible. If you could simulate it, you'd have your scout team starting for you, I'll tell you that. We can only master 3 plays at a time, so we never got into the rhythm. I'll tell you, if you get into this type of rhythm and you don't panic, this is the key for the Dallas defense. It's 11 on 11. We're not talking brain surgery. We're talking football. And if we can get into that and and Dallas can handle that and not panic, they'll be all right.
Right, you can't be intimidated. Now that Dallas offense, and it's certainly not as flashy as Buffalo's, but it's very balanced and very effective. Norv Turner and the offense, he's the offensive coordinator. They can really wear you down as a unit, but so too can that Buffalo pass rush.
Oh boy, you talking about a pass rush. Jimmy Johnson laid awake all last night thinking of this guy right here. It's Bruce Smith, this time on Sims, the speed rush, and the ball comes out. These are the two turnovers. One against Pittsburgh, touchdown Bills. One against Miami, touchdown Bills. You've got to keep that man, Bruce Smith, out of your face of Aikman. If you don't, it's going to be a long day for the Cowboy offense.
Well, if Aikman has him out of his face, then his receivers will not be hard to find, because I'll tell you what, the Buffalo secondary is not a basketball team. The Bills' defensive backs averaging 5 feet 10 inches tall, and in an era of diminutive receivers, they match up against very tall pass catchers. Irvin, Harper, Novacek holding a decided height advantage. And Turner has said that in the case of Irvin, if Aikman sees him in tight coverage, Aikman has been instructed to throw the football, because if Michael doesn't get it, chances are no one else will.
Well, Norv Turner told me on Thursday, he said, you know, we charted our throws to Michael Irvin. In those throws, that he has had 150 balls, and there you go. You see Harper and his great leaping ability accentuating the height of the Cowboy receivers. That's Eric Davis trying to get up there. Davis 5'10", Harper 6'3", and he high jumps. a high jump 7-1, Vince. When you can sky like that, you not only can play football, you can play basketball.
And one of the weapons we didn't mention, Jay Novacek of the Cowboys, their fine tight end who had a great season.
68 receptions. That leads all tight ends for the Cowboys in the history of that organization.
Remember, it all begins up front with that front seven of Buffalo. They control what happens on that Buffalo defense. Well, we haven't even discussed the Cowboy ground attack yet, but you know we are. And when we do, we talk about the Dallas Dynamo, who registered back-to-back rushing titles. Can Buffalo catch 22? It just might determine the outcome of this game.
Great things happen when you put on a uniform. America's largest uniform service company.
6 years ago, the city of Tampa had crumbling sewer pipes, and they started sliplining them with Driscoll pipe from Phillips 66, extending their lifespan from 10 years to 50, and saving millions of tax dollars, which Tampa has no trouble finding better ways to spend. Solutions from Phillips 66, the performance company.
Why is Embassy Suites twice the hotel? First, you get a suite with 2 big rooms. Evening beverages are on the house, not on the bill. And our cook-to-order breakfast is free of charge. Obviously, this isn't your typical hotel. It's twice the room, twice the comfort, and twice the value. And it's only at Embassy Suites. Twice the hotel. Call 1-800-EMBASSY.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing, could lead even to tooth loss. And now, Sensodyne has fluoride.
Fluoride, great.
New Sensodyne helps stop the pain of sensitive teeth.
Hey, we're in the bump, stand by. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, just a gorgeous setting for a championship football game. And today will mark the 4th Super Bowl to be staged at this venue. Well, he came out of the University of Florida a year early, and some of the scouts didn't expect all that much. But now, when we see him play, we expect greatness. Emmitt Smith of Dallas put together another spectacular season, becomes the first rushing champion to compete in a Super Bowl. Smith, common name, Emmitt Smith, a very uncommon running back.
When you're dealing with Emmitt Smith, the best way to hit Emmitt Smith is the first one you see, you let him go free, and you tackle the second one, and then maybe you got the right one.
Emmitt Smith must be 2 people. How else can we explain one running back taking such punishment while rolling up back-to-back NFL rushing titles? The first player to turn that trick since Eric Dickerson in 1984. Smith has played 52 consecutive games since joining Dallas in 1990. What keeps this dynamo running?
I think I rest. I take the proper rest. I'm not a big partier. I do go out, and don't get me wrong, I do go out and have fun. But I also get my rest.
Smith is the linchpin of the Dallas offense, much like the man he is often compared to, former Cowboy Tony Dorsett. But after only 3 seasons, Smith is operating at a Dorsett-like pace, and already 5th on the team's all-time rushing list, literally stepping out of Tony D's shadow.
By being with the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't feel any pressure at all as far as replacing Tony Dorsett or Herschel Walker or someone like that. I felt comfortable about coming here. I felt like it was just a matter of time before I had the opportunity to prove myself.
At 5'9" and 200 pounds, Smith was once considered too small and too slow to play in the NFL. Now he is considered the prototype back. Low center of gravity, slashing style, 18 rushing touchdowns this season, most in the NFL since '86, and only 3 lost fumbles in 373 carries. The following is a message for those early non-believers.
But I only got one thing to say to them. I'm going to look straight into the camera when I say this. Emmitt Smith is playing in the Super Bowl this year, and hopefully he will win it.
Yeah, so take that, everybody. And aside from playing in the Super Bowl, maybe the best part for Emmitt Smith, his 3-year contract expires, and I think he's ready to cash in.
Hey, Vince, it's called leverage, leverage, leverage. I'm telling you, when you have Emmitt Smith and you're 23 years of age, you possibly could be wearing a Super Bowl ring and carrying the MVP trophy under your arm, go into those contract negotiations, Vince, and get the money.
The Buffalo Bills, the only team in the NFL this season not to allow a 100-yard rusher during the regular season. But frankly, they haven't faced a back in the quality of Emmitt Smith. Apologies to Barry Foster.
Oh, no question. He rarely fumbles, he never stumbles, and he always rumbles, Vince. This guy is a player, unquestionably the best back in the NFL at this time.
Dallas Cowboys 9-0 this season when Smith gets his 100 yards, and they are 20-1 lifetime since he's been a Cowboy when he gets his 100. He just keeps on going. Well, still ahead on our show, what could be a make-or-break game for Bills coach Marv Levy. A gentleman, a scholar, but not yet a champion. Could be now or never for Buffalo's head coach, and Ron talks about it with him when we come back.
Well, we want to be together, but not too close together.
It's their first visit. I have a small car, and they are my parents.
For the way you travel, today more than ever, the smart money is on budget. For the right car at the right price, call your travel consultant or budget. The smart money is on budget.
Why is Embassy Suites twice the hotel? First, you get a suite with 2 big rooms. Evening beverages are on the house, not on the bill. And our cook-to-order breakfast is free of charge. Obviously, this isn't your typical hotel. It's twice the room, twice the comfort, and twice the value. And it's only at Embassy Suites. Twice the hotel. Call 1-800-EMBASSY.
Great things happen when you put on a uniform. America's largest uniform service company.
I like him.
I don't like him, obviously.
I'm glad that he's coming back.
I think he's better off on TV.
He's conservative. Very exciting.
Buchanan's back on Crossfire, beginning Monday at 7:30 Eastern on CNN.
Welcome back to NFL Preview, live from Hollywood. Those famous letters in the Hollywood Hills serve as a backdrop for this championship edition of our show. And after some thunderstorms last night, simply a glorious morning here in Hollywood. Well, when asked this week if his Super Bowl team and his Super Bowl win was a must-win, Bills coach Marv Levy said a must-win. World War II was a must-win. But fair or not, if Marv Levy doesn't get the job done today, he could be forever branded as a coach who simply could not win the big game. Now, Marv Levy and Ron Meyer, well, your paths have crossed before. 1972, you take over for Levy at UNLV.
I sure did. 6 days Marv was on the job. Montreal called. Boom, he's off to Canada, wins a Grey Cup up there, and now he's back in his 3rd Super Bowl appearance. Earlier this week, I asked Marv about the pressure to win this one.
I don't feel a great deal of pressure, more pressure than you normally feel. And again, you can relate to this very well. You have butterflies before every game, whether you've coached for 4 years or 40 years. And the big thing I think that a coach has to do going into this game is not be overwhelmed by the magnitude of the game, or his thinking won't be clear. When it's all over, I wouldn't mind sitting back in an easy chair and reflect on it, hopefully reflect on a victory. But during the game, I think it's best you immerse yourself at the task at hand. Just like we tell our players, don't think gotta win or fear to lose. Think, how am I going to handle that big son of a gun across the line of scrimmage for me? What do I have to do? And as a coach, we better think in the same way.
Marv, pressures, injuries, adversities. What was the biggest hurdle you had to overcome this last season?
Well, when the score was 35-3 against Houston, it looked like a pretty big hurdle. But, Ron, I realized fairly early in our season, this was a tremendously resilient team. Even though you had one of those games where you should have won it, everybody thought you should have won it, and you lost, and maybe it happened to you again the next week, I felt this was not a team that, and part of the reason was because they're a very talented team. This was not a team that would disintegrate. Now, if you don't have talent, then you do disintegrate. That's the difference there.
Marv, you're down 28-3 at halftime against the Oilers in that all-important playoff game. What were your thoughts, and what'd you do at halftime?
What I did at halftime, Ron, was really get off by myself and think through what decisions I might be faced with during the second half. Even if it was disastrous, the score could have amounted to 60-3. What decisions I might be faced with and how I would cope with them to help our team deal with it with dignity, and what the tactical and strategic decisions would be. And fortunately, I had that quiet time to think it through.
Marv, when you win this thing, have you ever thought about going out on top?
I'm really not at that stage yet, Ron. I enjoy very much what I'm doing. I feel like I'm in good health, maybe better health than some men a decade or more younger. I can't think of anything that I enjoy doing more. I've often made the statement that coach that says I'm going to retire in 2 or 3 years doesn't know it, but he's probably retired already. So I'd like to keep coaching for a while.
Ron, Levy's certainly taken some heat this year, and it was nice to see him smile this past week. But, he's really been the glue, we think, for a team that's made it back to the Super Bowl as a wild card.
Oh, Vince, there's just no question about this. He has been the glue. He's a classy man. He shows right there in that interview. This guy has got that team focused, moved him out of the hotel 2 days early. It's a business-like mission to win this third Super Bowl appearance. They want to win it badly for him.
You looked a little like Larry King in that interview.
Hey, striped shirt, suspenders and all. I'm there, Larry.
No, you wouldn't want to go that far. We must break again, but coming up on NFL Preview, the Master Thespian returns. Just joking. We didn't ask them. They asked us the questions. A crash course in TV broadcasting. Yes, it's Ask the Media Day at the Super Bowl. Yellow journalism at best.
"2 a.m., 36 Pine Street. Apartment 4C has a backache and can't sleep. 3C overdid her afternoon workout and is paying the price. 2C had an aching back, but fortunately, she also has Tylenol PM, with extra-strength Tylenol pain reliever, plus a gentle ingredient to help her sleep. And a good night's sleep was all she needed to make her day a whole lot brighter. Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy."
She was incredibly upset. And I sat her down and took her coat and got her a drink of water, and I asked her what had happened. Her husband and she had divorced. She had never paid a bill. She had done nothing financial. And I promised her, in a year from now, you will be amazed at what you'll understand. To see somebody go from that extreme to where she is today, I get excited about that. She's taking care of herself.
Is your money getting this kind of attention? Call Shearson Lehman Brothers.
For sports news around the clock, turn to CNN Headline News. At 20 and 50 minutes after every hour, get the latest sports highlights and scores updated continuously throughout the day. Headline News. Check local cable listings for the channel number in your area.
On Saturday, Hall passes for 5 of the game's best. Voted into the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, where the NFL's all-time leading rusher, Walter Payton, the only coach to win 4 Super Bowls, Pittsburgh's Chuck Noll, 2-time Big Show winner Bill Walsh, ex-Charger quarterback Dan Fouts, and ex-Dolphin guard Larry Little. The 5 team members of the Hall of Fame chosen by a media panel from a group of 15 finalists, and they'll be inducted July 31st in Canton, so congratulations to all. Well, as always, the NFL staged its annual Super Bowl Media Day back on Tuesday in Dodger Stadium, and that stadium was the scene of many errors this past summer by the Dodgers, and we'll tell you what, the press corps dropped a few as well. We put our own spin on Media Day, as we do each and every year. It was sort of an introductory course to sports broadcasting. They came by the hundreds. The media, mob, on a mission. But also the perfect opportunity for the Bills and Cowboys to get the jump on a career after football. No doubt many of these guys are headed for the broadcast booth following retirement. Our job to answer their questions. This was Ask the Media Day. Broadcasting 101, a one-day seminar. But it was certainly a time to showcase yourself in a big game at that point.
We try to utilize all as far as our weapons.
I wonder if I can line up those dinner reservations at Spago.
You don't want to hear about what Norv's going to do with the Bills' defense?
No, we got all week to talk about that. Listen, I got some funny stories about my career in broadcasting. Yeah, this one time I'm at a party, right? And who walks around the corner? Jim Brown himself turns the corner. Can you believe that? It was great. See, one of the things you want to do is get a hook in broadcasting. You know, like me, for instance, come springtime, I'm going to do this thing when a guy hits a home run. I'm going to say, back, and gone.
You really think that's going to work, son? You really do? I think it needs a little work. Good idea, though. Stick with it. You'll go far. Don't you think?
Well, it started out about 11 years ago. I was in a top 10 market anchoring at 22. It was pretty exciting in those days. You know, people didn't really start that young at that time, so I was very fortunate. Now, as a reporter, does it help you to be kind of funny? What do you mean I'm funny? How am I funny to you? You mean I'm like a clown? I amuse you? I'm put on this earth to amuse you? How am I funny? How am I funny to you? Well, listen, I say thanks a lot. All right. Good luck to you, man. I know you're going to do it. Okay. The things that they do. I know you got to go. Thanks. Hey, Canute, thanks a lot, man. I know you're going to do it. Follow these simple steps, and an exciting career in broadcasting awaits. There is one last order of business.
You know, Vince, this is my third year to the Super Bowl. I was wondering, does anybody in broadcasting make any money doing this sort of thing?
Well, let me see now. In some cases, yes. Not like they don't deserve it, though. Let me say that.
They're just cashing those checks all the time.
And they do a super job. Don't you guys ever change. Ron, what were your impressions of the zoo we call media then?
Oh, it's a gigantic zoo, Vince. I'm telling you, 2,000 media-type people, and you and I out there, it was a lot of fun. But I tell you, as a coach and a player, you'd much rather go through a 2-hour scrimmage than face that same question 100 times.
I think that's why they have it so early in the week. They don't have to deal with the media members as much anymore, but they are surrounded, no doubt about that. All right, when NFL Preview continues, Ron Meyer's keys to victory for both the Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll have our super predictions as well, so stick around. Madonna, and I can't believe I am, I hold the lock, he holds the keys for the Super Bowl. What are your keys for victory for both teams?
Oh, the keys are going to be many. Obviously, they can't turn the ball over, but let's get specific. With Buffalo, you've got to stay two-dimensional. You've got to run and pass the ball. You can't be one-dimensional, meaning don't kick them into the passing game. You must protect the ball. This is an axiom for both teams, actually, but don't let Kelly throw it into coverage, Vince. It's going to go the other way. And stop Emmitt Smith. This guy is unbelievable. You've got to control him. No one else has. That's why Dallas is here. Now, the key to Dallas, and these are not quite the same, but they really get involved if you're going to get a victory for the Bills. You've got to protect Troy Aikman. Don't turn Bruce Smith loose and knock that ball out of there. More importantly, can the nickel defense of Dave Wanstead hold up against the run? It has done it all season, but this is the best runner they'll ever face in Thurman Thomas. And 3, avoid defensive fatigue. The physical conditioning, we've got a cool day, we got great weather, but the defensive conditioning of the Dallas team is going to be a key factor in this game.
One thing we didn't talk about was the experience, and everyone knows that Buffalo is experienced in the Super Bowl and Dallas is a newcomer. How much of a factor do you think that'll be?
I don't think it'll be a factor at all, Vince. I like Aikman's composure and his poise. I like Jimmy Johnson. He's been there before in big games. This is just another walk in the park for him. It's a big game, but once that whistle blows and it's kicked off, it's off and running.
Briefly, a prediction.
Prediction?